Just imagine if Alexander Volkanovski gets taken down by Islam Makhachev and stands back up. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the biggest brain fuck, but I'm saying it's going to be somewhat of a brain fuck for Islam Makhachev. It's kind of like when someone takes another fighter's hardest punch, and then that fighter's like, how the fuck are they still standing right now? That's everything I had. Like, that's all I got. Woo! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We have got a big fight coming up in almost a week. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski is very close, and I'm excited. This is going to be a big fight for the pound for pound #1 spot in the whole entire organization of the UFC. Islam Makhachev's been going through the whole entire 155-pound division in the year of 2022. I think a lot of people are underestimating Alexander Volkanovski. There's multiple reasons, I think, just because, you know, he is going from 145 pounds to 155. That's got to be a little bit of a weight difference. We haven't seen him at 155 pounds, and I think everyone's got that in the back of their heads. Another reason he's being underestimated, I think, is just because Islam Makhachev has this persona and vibe around him that he's the baddest guy in 155 pounds, and people that come from Dagestan, Russia, have really good grappling in the UFC. Just look at Khabib going 29-30-0, basically. Like, come on now. It's freaking hard to deny that these guys have something about their fighting that makes them a little bit different. And I think that might be a little bit why Alex Volkanovski is getting underestimated a little bit here. Now, Alexander Volkanovski is a smart guy. He has a whole entire training camp behind him. He has guys in his corner focusing on certain things. And Alexander Volkanovski, again, is not fucking stupid. He knows that Islam Makhachev is going to try and take him down. It's a simple fact. It is most likely 99.9% chance that Islam Makhachev is going to do that some point in the freaking fight. So he's planning on getting taken down and just planning bad positions, which I think is really smart. He talked about this in one of his recent interviews. And obviously, I think any fighter is going to do that, but I think that a certain person that he does have in his corner being Craig Jones. If you guys don't know much about Craig Jones, he's a part of B Team Jiu-Jitsu. I think that the dude is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to grappling. And I think that, you know, there's certain things that he might bring to Alexander Volkanovski's grappling that Islam Makhachev might not have seen. Obviously, Alexander Volkanovski is fighting in MMA, and Craig Jones is currently fighting only in strictly grappling. And I think that the B Team itself and the new wave jiu-jitsu that John Danaher now has have been working on things that a lot of people haven't seen before on the ground. They're making a lot of new techniques and can show a lot of new things on the ground that Islam Makhachev himself might have never seen before. Just imagine if Alexander Volkanovski gets taken down by Islam Makhachev and stands back up. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the biggest brain fuck, but I'm saying it's going to be somewhat of a brain fuck for Islam Makhachev. Just the fact that, you know, someone being able to get up from his ground and top control, I think is going to be a big statement if Alexander Volkanovski can do that. It's kind of like when someone takes another fighter's hardest punch, and then that fighter's like, how the fuck are they still standing right now? That's everything I had. Like, that's all I got. So I think that, you know, something like that might be really big for Alexander Volkanovski if he can accomplish that task and if he gets taken down. You know, obviously, before you get taken down and you have to stand back up, the person actually has to get you down. So he might have some good takedown defense, especially for, again, coming from Craig Jones. I think that, you know, there could be some good stand-up defense that he's going to be bringing to this fight. Switching the sides a little bit and talking about Islam Makhachev, I've seen a lot of videos recently about him. If you guys haven't seen the viral video, or at least to me it was pretty viral or pretty fucking cool, of him being in the mountains and then comes out of a sauna originally, goes into a whole entire lake, and it's snowy all around his environment. So it's obviously fucking cold in the water. Hangs in there for who knows how long. I don't know if it was edited or not, if there was like a cut. Then it cuts to him putting snow on top of himself while he's headed back into the sauna, and then goes back into the sauna, which is just a savage way to really train and, you know, be one with the environment and just kind of seclude yourself or isolate yourself from, you know, the regular everyday life, which I think the Nelk Boys kind of talked about a little bit. If you guys haven't heard their podcast on them coming back from Russia, They went out to Russia, hung out with Khabib, Islam, Hasbullah, all of the guys over there in Dagestan. But really, they talked about when they were with Islam Makhachev, they actually went out up into the mountains, which was like a certain amount of hour drive, and just very secluded, and kind of talked about the training camp and how all these guys, there's like 15 guys there, and those 15 guys have their own fighting careers and are trying to make their own thing happen. But for Islam Makhachev's training camp, they are, putting their careers on hold a little bit and trying to help him get this freaking W, which I think is absolutely dope. Not only that, but these guys are all basically doing everything together. They're going to the sauna together. They're working out together. They're training together. They're rolling together. They're going to prayers together because they are Muslim and they do train 5 times a day. And that's something I want to touch on a little bit. Just to say that, Bilal Muhammad talked a little bit about it. But, the Muslim culture, I think, really brings a very disciplinary lifestyle in general in a good way, where, there's not a lot of time to go out and drink, or not a lot of time to go out and smoke and do, stupid shit, basically. And just sticking to that type of discipline from the time that you were born, I think can really make your lifestyle and things that you do in life very different. Just, learning a little bit about mindsets and building mindsets from David Goggins and things like that myself.
So I've been grinding lately. Had to go back to the fucking lab.
I think that, it's really cool that these guys kind of have that strong mindset just to begin with, basically. Another thing that the Nelk Boys mentioned in their podcast was this little training exercise they did with Islam Makhachev. And I think it was pretty brutal, just their reactions to it. They thought it was a fucking lot of, running in general, especially to add on. This is like how they kind of start their day. They go on a 4 to 10 mile run. I don't know exactly the numbers on and I think, they could have been inflated a little bit on the podcast. So who knows? And basically on that hill part where they run to, they do a 20-minute fucking hill run up and down this hill with no breaks. You just keep on going up and down this hill as hard as you can for 20 minutes straight. Now, if you ask me, doing anything on a fucking hill is going to be 100 times more fucking hard. If you haven't tried running full sprint up a hill, I dare you to go out and try it and tell me that it was fucking easy. And if you did think it was easy, do it for 20 minutes straight and then come back and tell me it was fucking easy. After that, they go back and then run back to their training camp, another 4 to 10 mile run, which is just, I think very impressive. And they're not doing long mile runs in these, running to this hill. They're doing 7 to 6 minute miles, the Nelk Boys said, which I think is pretty fucking impressive to do all that just in like your morning kind of session, your wake up routine, and then they go out and train and, do weights. I'm assuming they do weights. I'm not, 100% sure on that, but I'm sure that they're doing some sort of workouts in general, whether it's CrossFit, different type of circuit work with kettlebells. Either way, it's a fucking brutal, and maybe not brutal, but extremely disciplinary lifestyle that they do, especially for training camp. They are not fucking around over in Dagestan. I mentioned it in the beginning. The fact that it is in Perth, I do think might have a little bit of an advantage for Volkanovski. The UFC hasn't been there since probably 2019, 2018. So it's going to be interesting to see how much support he gets. I think it's going to be a very, very overwhelming amount, whether it's, a very overwhelming amount where you can really notice it on TV or not. Who knows? But either way, I think that arena is going to be bumping for Alexander Volkanovski, especially because, other than Israel Adesanya, they haven't really had another champ to support. And now that the belt is coming back and he's really the only Australian/New Zealand champ that they've seen, I think that's going to be something that's really big for him. And they're going to have a lot of support for Alexander Volkanovski, which, I bet you that they are not underestimating Alexander Volkanovski against Islam Makhachev. The last thing I want to bring up and, to kind of wrap this all up is this is the first time that Islam Makhachev is kind of fighting without Khabib in his corner. I believe Khabib is going to be out of his corner. When he was in this training camp, Khabib was actually like 100 miles away in a whole different city. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Islam Makhachev deals without Khabib in his corner in his training camp and kind of having that Khabib mindset and mentality there. Obviously, Khabib is, praised Islam Makhachev. He said that I'm not the best wrestler in my camp. Islam's way better than I am. So Islam might have a more disciplined mindset than Khabib does. Who knows? This fight is going to be an absolute fucking banger. It's going to be February 11th. We're going to be doing a watch party that weekend for the fight. Tune into the watch party then. But don't forget, guys, we're going to be doing a watch party tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. Saturday, February 4th, we're going live at 1 a.m. It's this fucking weekend, and when you're watching this video, I guarantee you either I'm live or I'm going to be going live. So tune in for Derek Lewis versus Spivak. I forget his first name. I'm sure my editor popped up their pictures or popped up a thing of the card right here. Boom. Yeah, it's right there. Tune in to Kevin Hoop Show. We're going live. If you guys think that Islam Makhachev is going to take this fight, let me know in the comments. If you guys think Alexander Volkanovski is going to take this fight, let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and have a great fucking day.